A week ago, or 10 days ago, I took my wife to the eye clinic in Wythenshawe.
The Bertels.
In the centre of Wythenshawe, what's it called?
Civic Centre.
Yeah. And as I walked by, there was a shop window, and it had a knife. It was the most ugly
The
knife.
biggest box of
Big
knives.
£90. Now,
The win-
is that legal?
In the window.
Just
We're looking at things like that with our partners. We're now not distributing images in anti-knife crime, so you'll have heard that on the news, that we're not using images, and we're also doing stuff with trading standards. Following the tragic murder earlier this year, something that we did with the mayor is there's a wish, it's called, where we've looked at stopping the purchase of knives, and there's an ongoing piece of work around that. So, but if you tell me which shop that was, I will gladly feed that back into the Wythenshawe team.
I actually phoned the Manchester Evening News. I phoned the police and they said they do.
They-
You can't stop selling kitchen
I
knives.
will get the name.
And I suppose that's one of the
I
things
tell
I
you
have
which
to
one
say.
it is, how you can tell. There is the NHS eye
The clinic.
clinic, right? And it's 2 doors away towards Asda. And it's sold multi
Really disturbing.
things.
The interesting thing about knives though is that it doesn't have to be a big knife, and it could be a kitchen knife.
No, I
And
appreciate
this is the challenge that we have. Even a steak knife, it's a really difficult area to police. The large knives, absolutely, yeah.
£90.
Can we have the next question, please?
I think sorry, my name is Dr. Rahul Jal. I've been living in Hale Barnes, number 11 Riverside Gardens for the last 20 years. You will be surprised to know I've got a very nice man, our MP, good also. But the thing is, this young lady has shown, in August we have gone through a Hale Barnes. Hale Barnes, 144. This burglaries and this and that, and 3 in our street, in the Riverside Garden. You know, I'm asking the policeman that you have seen there, and Hale Barnes has been targeted. There are groups there, committee. There must be some group. In the Hale Barnes, not a big place. For a police is nothing. But really, we are frightened. First time in my life, my wife is talking. I didn't want to come. 20 years, I know grandparents. They are big people, big things. But we must start from the house. We vote these people. And I'm professional, I'm retired, but I'm frightened to open the door now. Because in August, 144 burglaries in Hale Barnes. Can you imagine?
No, I'm going to tell you this, no.
That's what I'm
There weren't
saying.
144 burglaries in Hale Barnes.
Can you please?
I think we need to be really clear about our numbers. And
You know, but you must pay attention because the police is meant to save me. It's not that it's too late, but everything happens in 3 minutes. So Hale Barnes, you must do something.
Yeah. I do need to put that in perspective. You know, in August, there weren't 114 burglaries in Hale Barnes. There was a spike in burglaries. There was a spike across the district in August. But certainly that there weren't that number in that time. I appreciate it's a concern.
Does that include attempted burglaries where they've climbed up and with machetes up the house to try to get in when your children are in on their own? Or is it just
That
people
will
that
in-
actually get in?
Right. If it's one where people have been disturbed and people are aware of it, that will include that. That will include that.
So that's in your figures?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we do appreciate there was a spike in burglaries in August. We don't deny that. There was a spike across the district. There was a spike across.
All right, lady over there, please.
So I can empathize with the gentleman who just spoke. My house got burgled exactly 3 weeks ago in Sale, on the Avenue Road. Thankfully, compared to other horrible burglaries, it happened when we were away, within a span of half an hour. And the fear that is, my child's school backpack has been emptied, and my jewelry. It's not the loss of jewelry, but it's the sentiments that are attached to that jewelry because it's my childhood and my mom's. That makes us feel very vulnerable in our own house. My whole bedroom has been ransacked, rampaged, and it's very disturbing. Okay, we got over. I've had sleepless nights tearful nights, but my younger daughter is, she's still unable to recover. And I work for NHS, and I completely empathize with police, who were very sympathetic on the night, arrived on time, gave the police reference number. And I know you work beyond your limits, understaffed, tired, and come on days when you're off, which we as doctors do as well. So I completely empathize with you. But there are things that make us feel like, our police doing something. It's quite reassuring for me to know that you are doing your limits, but within your limits. But there are instances. My husband's car has been stolen. 3 days, no sign, and we were losing hopes. And we put it in a local WhatsApp group, and it was found at a common friend's neighbor in the neighborhood in Temple in a dead-end road. So we informed police. My husband from work informed police, and because I work close in the area, he asked me to go, so police will come. There was no sign of police after 1 hour. I called the police on 101 again, and they said that that call was not logged in, so we don't know. Anyway, I said, no, it's been found. What do? I don't want to touch it. I had a spade key. Okay, fine. If you have a spade key, do you want to retrieve it by yourself? I was completely taken aback. It's a car which was burgled, which took, which they took away, and it was abandoned, or I don't know whether they were going to come back, finding out whether there was a tracker or not. It was not even found by the police. Number 2, we reported to the police. They didn't even log the call. Number 3, when they acknowledged, okay, you found the car, are you able to retrieve it by yourself? I said, no, I'm not even touching it. We don't know what is in there, what they have used it for. Could even be a murder. I don't know. I want you to send it for forensics. And then my husband came. After 2 hours, he had to convince police to take it for forensics, and the car is not back yet. I think forensics too. It's gone to the insurance company for the change of law. It just makes the trust on the system a bit more weaker. So I really want you to do something. I know police force are inundated, and the burglars. This happened. Our burglary happened on a Sunday night. The previous Friday night, local shop, the cash machine had been broken into. They ran into the wall, and police tried. So we were hoping that police patrol will be here. Nothing will happen. The very Saturday night, 8-year-old couple on near Ashram Mercy School got broken into. Their jewelry were taken when they were still in the house. That was Saturday night, and Sunday night our house gets burgled. 4 days later, same line, few houses away, another house gets broken into. What gives them this confidence? Why do they are not scared of you, despite of you doing so much? And how do I reassure my future generation?
Okay, a few things from that, really, and this is where the partnership does need to come in, because you need to realise, which explains staffing numbers. People don't always stand, and they hear it, they don't understand it. 12 staff to cover Old Trafford, Stretford, Urmston, Davyhulme, Hartington, Warburton, Sale, Timperley, Altrincham, Bowden, Hale, Barnes. 12 staff to cover that. So, at times that it will be really busy. When I cover district as a district bronze, so I'm the inspector on the day, making sure that all the jobs get sent to. We have grade 1, which means we've got to get people there 10 minutes because somebody's life's in danger or the property's in danger. And I can have all my staff going from job to job to job to job to job. And you've just run out of staff. We've got people with mental health issues. We've got people who are tied up. Those same staff who make those calls have to investigate the crime they go and take. They have to arrest the offenders. They have to do prosecution files for that. If they go to an incident where there's any kind of vulnerability, they have to spend at least an hour writing about it right before it goes. So that's why, when there's been a burglar in there, we can't have lots of police around there, because they're whizzing around to keep people alive. And this is where it needs to be that real partnership work. And part of that is, if you've got a house, you spend what you can in relation to making it hard to get into. And I've got somebody who's really good on home security, and we'll talk about that, and he talks about layers of an onion. So as somebody comes onto your property, there are sensors that will detect it's a human and not a dog. So as soon as somebody gets over the fence into your garden, you can have lights coming on, and you can have your alarm sound. And as they get towards your house, sensors on the windows. You can put some film on the windows so they can't smash it. So the alarms go in. Your CCTV, which you need to have, so you've got movement detectors on, so it pings up on your phone and tells me there's somebody in the garden, and you're on the phone to the police. We have had incidents of people on holiday whose phone has gone off because there's somebody in the back garden. They phone the neighbour who's got the lights on, they phone the police, so we're going in to prevent a burglary. We can't be everywhere because we've got this many cops and this much work. And we'd love to be, because we didn't join the cops not to provide you with good service.
But
But on a busy day, we can't be everywhere.
that doesn't answer the question. What's going to happen? How can we increase the number of policemen in there?
Okay, well, I'm afraid that's down to politicians. But in the meantime, we have to work in partnership, so we've got to make sure we spend as much as we can on crime prevention to stop you becoming a victim, but also being part of a home watch, so that when there is suspicious activity, you just call. But sometimes, yeah, we
The
can't
police call
put
was
every
not
single car out.
reported.
on social media.
And they asked us to take the
to
retrieve the car by ourselves. I thought that was a bit of, I don't know whether there is a channel. I was even putting a complaint to GMP police to say that, you know, how can you ask, there might be some evidence in the car. You asked us to report the incidents. There was an evidence.
But if we can't get somebody there because they're off saving somebody's life, and that sometimes happens.
I completely
I'm sorry, can we take this offline, because it's a specific case and there are a lot of aspects to it. I do know you all are bursting to ask questions.
Can I just update you that the cash machine job, the nicer job, we've arrested somebody for that, caught in the act, and we've also recovered the cash machine with the cash still in it. So again, I don't think sometimes we actually promote what we do, but when we capture that offender, we then have to take them into custody, which means driving to the custody office at Pendleton. We have to book them in, which is perhaps an hour's process, do the right risk assessments and book them in, do the statement. And again, to investigate crime takes time, so that 1 or 2 officers will be taken from that 12 as well. So we've had a fantastic result there, and that crime, but there are other opportunities as a result of that arrest, is all I can say about that one. So we're looking at the opportunities that have arisen from that crime. So we've got a few jobs where we've got offenders, we've captured people recently, and we're starting to make the links and investigate the links between those.
My question or criticism was not to the police. What I'm trying to say is you're trying your best. I know about this crime you tried to capture. I think that he was found. My question is to probably, as you said, to the politicians, that how do we live, how long can we live in fear like this? When what makes these thugs go on a rampage like this without a fear? They were caught, police were there, and they still attacked in the same area another elderly couple, and then my house, and then they go on. What makes them? Is this a system failure? And my question is to that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about the police.
in response, and I know we have another Q&A, and I'm really sorry, there's a gentleman there, you and there. You all are asking the questions. Councillor Michelle wants to. Can we hold your questions for the second Q&A? We just allow Sir Graham to answer this because it's directly to the MPs, and then allow Graham from the council to speak and have the other Q&A. Sorry, just hold your questions.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief, but I think it's important to make a couple of points. Of course, resources are an important issue. As you know, there is now a significant increase in police resources, which is going on. Some of us have been asking for that for some time, and I think it's obviously necessary and the right thing to do. As was made clear earlier, I think by Caroline, it does take a little while to train all of those officers, but it should start to improve. So that's the first thing, is the overall level of resources. Second point is the thing that I was saying earlier, is about the allocation of resources within Greater Manchester Police. And this is where, again, I think John hammered the point home, it's really important that we raise the concerns, that we make sure that our voice is heard, so that we get the resource within GMP that we need, and which is appropriate. And the other thing, I was just going to comment on the question of sentencing, which was raised by somebody over there earlier. And obviously there's the actual sentence which is given, first of all, is important, and I think for these violent crimes in particular they should go up. Secondly, is the question of what is routinely done in terms of commuting the sentence. And if somebody gets 10 years but only routinely serves a half of that time, that is part of the problem. And that's one of the things that was announced this week by the Home Secretary, there would be a change to an expectation in violent and sexual offences, that would be going up to 60%, 2/3 instead, which is, I think, a significant improvement.